here are some just sort of basic steps to a pay equity audit. You want to establish confidentiality, privacy, and if applicable, privilege protocols, and identify who the team members are. You want to establish the scope of the analysis, basically, what business units are going to be analyzed, what establishments, basically which employees are you going to look at, and over what time frame. And are you going to look at total compensation? Are you going to look at also bonus, et cetera? And then you're going to look at what protected class you're going to be looking for. Well, we've been focusing on gender, but it's certainly not limited to that. You can do it for age, race and ethnicity, disability, whatever. Now, you also want to identify what the applicable legitimate business factors are. And we've talked before about these sort of 4 factors. So as they apply to your organization, you want to identify them because that's going to help you explain what some of the pay gap and reduce the unexplained pay gap. And then you're going to identify what we call pay analysis groups, which is to sort of identify how the groups are going to be organized. They could be organized, for example, using the EEO-1 classifications, which are like executives, managers, professionals, clerical. There's one, I think, craft workers. You could organize it that way, or you could organize it in a way that really sort of is more fact-specific to your organization. And then once you've figured out which groups are going to be sort of compared, that's your pay analysis groups, you then are going to get all the data for them. And that's a big issue that is sort of the elephant in the room that nobody seems to talk about, is the problem with getting the data right. And most statisticians will tell you that is, you need the data in order to run the analytics and sort of garbage in, garbage out. That data needs to be clean and complete. And so getting that data set ready is a very critical step. On there, there'll be vendors who can do that. We are a company that does that kind of data cleansing, which is critical, as well as the pay equity audits. Then once you have the data ready, then you're going to do the statistical modeling. And this is not a one-size-fits-all. There are going to be different regression and non-regression analyses that would apply to a particular, your facts. And so you need to know, you need to have someone who understands that can do that modeling, and that's applicable to your set of facts. Once you've done that modeling, then you're going to look at the outliers. Basically running the stats, you figure out which employees are the outliers. And so the regression is handling the bulk of the employees being analyzed, and then you get these outliers or stragglers, and that just need to be looked at, where you roll up your sleeves and really critically review these outliers. The good news is those should be pretty small. So once you've done this analytics, then you can figure out what kind of remediation strategy you're going to apply and implement to your organization. And the remediation strategy can be from the quantitative metrics of pay adjustments, which don't necessarily mean lump sum. It could be over time, and that will depend on sort of the budget and sort of what makes sense for your company. And there are also going to be other remediation strategies that's not so quantitative, but really sort of qualitative, that go into the root causes that require maybe policy changes, et cetera. And then lastly, and importantly, is you want to monitor and track it, because once you've done a pay equity audit, it's static. It's just what's going on as of right now or as of the time frame that you've identified. But more employees are getting hired, more employees are leaving, people are getting promotions, et cetera. So it's not a static thing. It's something that's going to be changing. And so you're going to want to monitor with some periodic basis to make sure that the analysis you've done and the remediation steps you've taken are actually moving towards reducing the pay gap.